Like, where do you tell people, like when people are like, oh, where are you from?
Northern suburbs. I mean, Lino Lakes, if you want to get that specific.
That's
but
right.
Yeah.
Lino Lakes. I was thinking.
Northern burbs.
Yeah, near White Bear.
Yeah.
Or up that way.
Up that way. Nobody knows Centennial or Lino
Yeah.
Lakes.
Well, you do see Centennial on the highway, right?
No, it's not a city.
No, the school.
Yeah, you can see the middle school from the highway.
That's the middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but Centennial's a combination of like Lino Lakes, Lexington, Circle Pines, Hugo, Centerville, Blaine. Like it's just a hybrid. Yeah. Our high school is actually on Blaine, in Blaine.
Okay.
So we have to share like our athletic facilities with Blaine.
Have you been seeing and hearing about Blaine and the hospitality district that they're working to build?
Yeah, very interesting. They just opened up the Prime, that steakhouse and that pizza pub right on the corner there. Yeah. And we've been there.
As a like pubs, personal, like privately, as you've been there.
Yeah, we've done it. I mean, it's a great spot because, I mean, you got soccer, you got hockey, you got baseball, you got all the sports going on there. Teams need a place to go. Right. So we're like, oh, that's pizza pub's going to be great. It looks huge. Like you can definitely fit. Well, they made the second level this high-end steakhouse. Yeah. And I know people that have gone there, no price is listed. It's kind of market value, you know.
Market pricing.
And it's, they spent more money there than they would at Manny's or like Pittsburgh Blue. And it's like super sticker shock. And it's like, okay, like, are you just hoping they could have made so much residual revenue had they made both floors of pizza? Because whether it's hockey in the winter or soccer in the summer, whatever it may be, there's constant. Yeah. Those families aren't going to eat at steakhouses. So I don't know if they're like,
who they're aspiring to serve. Yeah.
Probably PGA people. Yeah. Because there really is no like high end spot to go eat, like when the 3M open and stuff comes through. So I don't know.
And I mean, if you're charging such exorbitant prices, then you don't need it to be full in the beginnings, right? Right. And so there is that.
And I think that's part of it too.
It's part of the society that we live in now. There's a certain amount of restaurant that's really just reserved for the high end, or the prices are so astronomical.
That's 100% it. Yeah. And I think that's, but Hope Breakfast Bar is opening up over there.
Hope Breakfast Bar is flying through cities across the Twin Cities.
I love it. I went there for lunch today.
You did?
The sales meeting and coming
here. You did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hope Breakfast Bar is,
Shout out Brian Ingram.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
They are powering the show today.
This show
truly
literally powered by
Hope Breakfast Bar.
I had a little lavender latte. And chicken biscuit.
Okay. Really how was it served? Like on biscuit, like chicken on biscuit?
So it was like chicken and almost like a sweet chili, like honey sauce.
Yes.
With like pickled veggies. It was mostly like cucumbers, onions, whatever.
Yeah.
With like some hash browns.
Awesome.
It was perfect. It was great.
So we had lunch earlier this week. We're here with Lauren Bertrand.
Hi. We're just going right
Field
into it.
marketing manager for Drink Wynk and the Wynk team. It's kind of funny because I like to call it Drink Wynk. I know your brand is Wynk. Yeah. But like the phrase is Drink Wynk.
Yeah. And I mean, that's our handle too. So you can go ahead. TikTok, Instagram, Drink Wynk.
Yeah. Coming back for the second time.
Yes. It's been about a year, which is wild. And what a year it's been.
What a year it's been. Truly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not the seltzer. But Wynk is a seltzer.
Wynk is a seltzer.
And today we're debuting the 10 milligram.
We are debuting the 10 milligram.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, first of all, I had to match my sweater to the can today.
Can Wonderland.
There's another one. Another shout out for you. But yeah, we are officially launching our 10 milligram.
I've been hearing about this for weeks. This is a lemonade series.
Lemonade series, yep.
I love it. So there's strawberry lemonade, there is raspberry lemonade, and then there is lemonade.
Lemonade.
The official lemonade of lemonades. Yeah, so 10 milligrams this time around, no CBD.
No CBD.
Still low dose, but on that higher end for the more advanced consumer that's looking for that full dose.
Yeah, we like to say we're the high end of low dose at this level here. And with the introduction of 10 milligram, obviously there's a couple things that differentiate these seltzers from our 5 milligram or even lower dose. that we have out there. So first and foremost, like you pointed out, it's 10 milligrams of straight THC, no CBD in this one. So in terms of functionality, just kind of getting to where you want to be a little bit more. I think I have seen, as everyone has, the 10 milligram category is definitely this spot to be. So
for what would they say, like off premise, like more liquor stores? Is that where you're seeing bigger 10 milligram?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many retailers that I'll go into, even ones that I've worked with previously, that are just kind of like, we're really winding down kind of all the 5 milligrams that we have, and we're really looking for new 10s, 10s. Everyone's looking for 10s. Which I get it. I hear that. I see that. I know that's what people want. It's still kind of a novelty right now, so people want to get the most bang for their buck.
They're buying on value from a dosage standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. There's still not a ton of brand loyalty out there. Okay. I mean, I think there's definitely brands that stick out in terms of who's getting in front of you, who's marketing themselves, who's on digital, who's on social, which obviously we are pretty strongly, but we've been teasing this 10 milligram launch now online for a while and have got a lot of buzz around it. So yeah, April 1st.
This is no joke.
This is no joke. No joke's here. It's here. It made it. It has arrived.
I tried it right before the show. So it's got natural sweeteners, monk fruit, and allulose. And you've been drilling that in my head for weeks. But you notice there's like a sweet taste to it, but it's still 0 calorie. Is that right?
Yes. So that's the other piece. We're still 0 calories, 0 sugar. Wynk is going to stick to that clean, natural ingredient base. We want to keep it simple for the consumers, so they know what they're drinking, how they're going to experience it. So with this, obviously, our 5 milligram seltzers are a lot like a LaCroix or a bubbly water.
Yeah.
And with no sweeteners at all. So with this, you still get that light, easy drinking body feel.
Okay.
But the monk fruit, allulose, those come from beetroot. So it's still a natural sweetener that you can find.
Yeah.
But it doesn't register on the glycemic index. So it's really even more beneficial for people who are sensitive to not just sugars, but artificial sugars and whatnot too. So they can still experience a bit of sweetness, but you're not left with like sweaters on your teeth. It's not, no crazy aftertaste, no artificial feel. It's just really light, just enough. I'm not a sweet beverage drinker, so I could never quite get behind drinking 20, 30 grams of sugar per drink, especially when perhaps I am being sessionable with something like this. So I appreciate that extra flavor forwardness to them. Obviously being able to maintain that 0 calories, 0 sugar, is also a great benefit for people. Just in general, I think everyone's always looking for something low or no.
Yeah.
And we kind of hit the mark. So this introduction of 10 milligram, or obviously these are in 4 packs, whereas our 5 milligrams are still going to be in 6 packs or the 12 variety out in market.
Okay.
But we're just getting started with these 3 right now. Excited to see what we can do with these. I mean, retail 10 milligrams is definitely the push.
Sure.
On premise, in my personal stance, I think we need to stick to 5 and below. Personally, on premise.
Restaurants, bars.
Yeah, especially as there's so much hesitation, whether it's because of insurance or because of city laws, or you can't mix, or just being a bartender, a previous bartender myself.
Yeah.
If this was an option for me and I had to sit and measure, okay, now I have to make sure alcohol wise they're okay, but now they're mixing this in, and people are still getting to know their own endocannabinoid systems and how they respond. In the same way, I always like to go back to, you're freshly 21. You're going out for your first beer, going out for your first drink.
Yeah.
You may not necessarily start with some like high ABV IPA,
right,
or a shot of Everclear or Dirty Martini.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you do,
the beer one's a great example, right? Because anything over 8%, you're probably not going to start with something like that.
Right. So, but we've all been there when we were freshly 21-ish, and we reached for that higher dose or higher ABV item.
Yeah.
And we have an awful experience. I still don't touch tequila to this day.
To this day.
Because freshly 21-year-old me had a not so great experience trying to keep up. And it is engraved in my brain. I would love to enjoy a nice cold margarita on the beach, or a shot of tequila, but not my thing.
Right.
So I don't want people to have that same experience, because there still are so many freshly 21-year-olds in the category, whether you're space. 21 or you're 81.
Yes.
That a lot of trial is on premise, and that comes from alcohol days. So when you're launching a new product, when you're putting something new out there, on premise is one of the best places for you to try something. And I'm the same way. I don't order or drink a lot of alcohol at all of this anymore. But if I'm going out and I'm going to enjoy something that looks intriguing or looks delicious, I'll order the cocktail and I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
And I'll trial it. Right. So whether it's a new beer on tap, and then I'll say, oh, I really like that. Prize Royal Raspberry Sour. That was my first experience. I kind of started getting into started getting into sour beers, and I had that on draft, and that turned around and made me a regular customer at retail.
Yeah.
So that's what you mean. That's kind of our goal, right? With on premise.
I'd be curious to know, since the last time we sat down, how much you've learned about the Wynk consumer and who is typically buying this product, given that you launched with 2.5 milligram beverages
in 2023.
In 2023, and then you brought 5s on
2024,
and now we're here in 2025, and 10s are coming. So what have you seen from the data?
Yeah, wow. We could do an hour-long podcast on these last 18 months alone.
That's a good idea. I mean, it's the Northern Lights podcast. We can talk as long as you'd like.
Yeah, right. Well, careful what you wish for. So yes, 2.5 milligrams we launched in 2023, actually prior to my time with the team. And that was obviously the very early phases and stages. And during that time, we were still primarily out east, selling to dispensaries.
Yeah.
So Wynk was always marketed as the high end of low dose, even in dispensaries, right? So we had 2.5 and 5 milligrams in dispensaries. And this was before really mainstream even kind of went up there. But, in other markets, we did have another brand that expanded into the 50 and up to 100 milligrams.
Okay. And when did when did Wynk, or the parent company Warehouse Beverage, when did you first get a beverage into a dispensary? How many years has it been?
First can of Wynk was produced in 2021 or 2022.
That'd be my guess.
And started hitting in shelves in 2022. So the Wynk wagon, if we go back to our original conversation, Wynk was born in the back of 253-foot trailers. So our founder...
Semi-truck trailers, essentially.
Yes, correct. Yeah. And our founder and like 5 or 6 of his buddies drove state to state with undosed product and dosed on site. So we were able to kind of capitalize on that mobile unit. Wow. And he had developed an emulsification technology that would move around with them.
A multi-state trailer.
Yes. The Wynk wagon. The wagon.
Winking at you soon.
Yeah. So I hope I get this timeline right, but those trailers started, the conceptualization of all that was like 2020, 2021. Drove those around, and I believe in 2022 they sold over 1 million cans out of the back of those 2 trucks.
Wow.
Which allowed them to scale to the capacity and get behind building the manufacturing facility that opened in Waverly, New York.
Similar to
in
a
2023.
Restaurant. They went from a food truck or like a mobile canning to a brick and mortar or a full warehouse of production.
Yes. And now we're franchising across all these states.
And you're franchising. Yeah. and the company's called Warehouse, like Where, WHERE house. So it's all brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there really wasn't, everyone always asks like, oh, where are you from? Where are you out of? I'm like, well, we're born in Pennsylvania. We're being raised in New York, and now we've got boots on the ground in 6 or 7, main markets, but we're shipping to, DTC, shipping all over. I mean, that is a big part of the business, but, our boots on the ground, mainstream hemp derived markets that are being built alongside these distributors are, building, quickly catching up to kind of the success of
And in the
DTC.
Since we've been working together the last year, Wynk has made a conscious decision to exit dispensaries and move strictly into the hemp-derived space, finding more opportunity in hemp than in the traditional cannabis market.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the biggest shifts over the last 18 months or so. So when I was brought on in late 2023, myself, a Chicago state manager, and a gentleman who oversees Connecticut and New Jersey, we all came from alcohol beverage background.
Sure.
So we were super familiar with the landscape, the markets, the distributor 3-tier system, etc.
Yeah.
Whereas previously, a lot of the markets that we had boots on the ground in did have that dispensary crossover. So we were selling not only Wynk on the low end, but we had another brand that was, higher end in dispensary. As more and more regulations allowed, laws were passed for us to enter into these mainstream markets. Minnesota especially, obviously, we are such a unique little situation that's kind of wrote the book
2024
for better or worse.
Was a banner year for hemp beverages. Last year was.
So I think it was definitely a shift and a conscious decision by our leadership and the right one to get people in. And we've hired a few, mid-senior level, regional support as well. So, the team is growing and we all some sort have craft beer or, some sort of emerging, beverage background. So we're familiar with the nuances in the ins and outs. And as we're learning the cannabis side, and everyone else is we see so many people coming in with the cannabis side, not having that beverage industry 3-tier system background.
Yeah. And that's only going to become more important as the regulations are enforced and brought on. And, and so, the zero sugar, 0 calorie, that must appeal to the wine drinker that's trying to cut back on wine or doesn't want their sugar levels to raise a little bit. So to get back to that customer, what can you share around who's picking up this product? Who's buying it in 6-packs, or 12-packs?
It's crazy. You'll go do a tasting at retail and it is middle-aged retiree plus that are stopping to have the conversation. Now, I think in those instances, long story short, we see a very balanced customer.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
There are 21 to 25, there are people in their 20s that are making very early decisions to remove alcohol from their life. So there are definitely curious consumers in that category. But those 20-something-year-old probably have a little bit more knowledge than your 40, 50, 60-plus-year-old customers that will come walk up to our booth,
with 30 years of alcohol consumption experience that they're sort of
shifting away from. All in all, it's people shifting away from alcohol for sure.
Yeah.
It's always very interesting when it is that 20-something person because for the most part, early on, we thought that would be such a great crowd. But it was so apparent the first few times I went out in kind of college-ish market areas that you're right. These guys are buying their cheap vodka.
Okay.
They're getting their bang for the buck with the alcohol. They're still kind of learning their body in that way.
Yeah.
And if they are dabbling in cannabis, which a lot of them are,
they should come to the Dabbler Depot then.
They should come to the Dabbler Depot. Exactly. They likely have other ways of consuming in a more college age economical way.
The bongos and
So, you do see a lot of, hockey mom, soccer mom, myself. I'll bring them to our pregame parent meetings, right?
Cool.
And just, I think just having it when I have it socially, whether I'm with my friends or I am a younger parent within the crowd of my kid and his sports and stuff. But, just having it in my hand and being social with it and getting, you can see people being more comfortable asking the question is that one of those weed waters or whatever it may be, right? Yeah. Okay, tell me more. And I can have the time to explain to them, this is safe, this is clean, this is, a much better alternative. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's going to make this game a lot less stressful. So if we can all just have a wink before the game.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. So it's
good to hear.
It would be hard to pinpoint a target consumer. I think anybody that's curious, open-minded, or, previous experience or not with cannabis are within the realm. It's anybody who's willing to come up and have the question and have the conversation.
Yeah, and it's non-threatening. You can find these on grocery shelves at co-ops and things like that, and it's not behind a glass counter like the edibles have to be and things like that. And so, beverage for it's part of our society. This 12-ounce can is a part of our society, whether it's a taller 12-ounce can or a traditional Diet Coke size can or even the small ones. I like those as samples.
I know, we love the mini ones.
Yeah, the minis, like the little Sprites on the airplane size.
Yeah, and it's funny. So again, going back to the last 18 months, started selling 2.5. Clearly we needed to get to the next step. January 2024, we launched the 5 milligrams in a 6-pack. So we kind of were able to, work our pricing, bring our pricing. I mean, pricing was another big jump. I think everybody's been taking over the last 18 to 24 months.
Are you involved in those conversations sometimes from a field marketing level?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Minnesota is so competitive that, me kind of raising my hand and waving the flag of like, hey, you're right. We've got a great product. We've got a good introductory price, but we can't stay here long. Like if we need that velocity, that volume, that turnover, if we need to catch people's attention, people want less money, more MGs.
Right.
And, then it's the sticker shock. So you might have somebody who buys that, at one point at the beginning of last year, our 6-packs were at $19.99 on the shelf.
Okay.
And that was the first big stretch, was get under that $20 mark. We're a 6-pack compared to 4-packs. Like, well, this is a good space to be.
I remember seeing those at the Dabbler Depot on 7th Street. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And great, but we're not always faced 3 wide. So all of a sudden you flip our 6-pack to the side.
Yep.
We've added these things that now call out 4-pack, 6-pack, but whoa.
I almost had it, but this one's for me now.
Perfect. Crack it open. It's a goodie.
Ooh.
Oh no. Oh yeah, just fun. April Fools. I shook that one up.
Got me. We'll take a quick break.
Ready to kick off your home grow? We've got the perfect hookup for you. MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. They've got everything from fast flowering strains to unique hybrids, all ready for growing in Minnesota. And guess what? Our listeners get an exclusive deal. Use the code NL10 for a 10% discount on your entire order. Don't miss out and get started with the best seeds. Start your growth strong with MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. Remember, NL10 for 10% off at MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. Grab your seeds today. And we're back here in the studio with Casey of Natural Harvest. How's it going, man?
Hey, Tanner. Thanks for having me back again.
Super happy to have you back in the studio. It is another month. It is April. We're getting so close to that outdoor season being real. And now it's another month, which means we got another seed box. Tell us, what do you have in store for us this month?
Yeah, so this month, an exciting one, Northern Lights Auto.
What? You named a seed after us? No. I'm just kidding. No, a classic cultivar, Northern Lights Auto. That's awesome. That's a really, really cool one. I mean, not that you have to tell people what is Northern Lights like, but for people who maybe haven't tried the beverage, haven't ever smoked the weed before, haven't been exposed to that, what is Northern Lights?
Absolutely, yeah. Classic indica strain. Kind of one of those everybody knows about. The auto variety is mixed with lowrider, so kind of get some of those genetics too. So
I love it. Yeah, I think you get a little bit of a berry woodsiness to it. Northern Lights is one of those cultivars that I keep coming back to. I haven't found a bad iteration of it yet, so I'm stoked. And an auto plant. For people who maybe have never grown an auto flower before, tell us a little bit, what is it that makes it that auto flower? What does that mean?
Sure. Yeah, the nice thing about the auto flower, it's a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about changing your light cycle. So you can just kind of go about, your normal grow and not really think about that. So it takes a step out of the equation, especially for new growers. Also, as we're going into the summer, a lot of good reasons, get something planted early here, hopefully. Yeah. We have some good weather coming up. And another, real positive outcome is that, if you do something early in an auto, you kind of avoid that cross-pollination, right? Like all that ditchweed that's around there in October, you're going to be done like curing your plants already. So
yeah. And I feel like before we know it, it's going to be time for those plants to be outdoors. Where like, if you haven't started your seeds yet, really consider doing that now, because you want to be able to take advantage of that full season, not just get your seeds out and get a month or two.
Right. Yeah. And avoid some of those pests and deer and things like that. Rabbits that just like to munch on your plants when they're tiny little things. So
all of that.
A little bit bigger before they go out.
Totally. Well, and like you were talking about earlier with the autoflower, I have a lot of friends that grow in the cities, maybe in their backyard close to others. Those photosensitive plants are great, but sometimes depending upon the lights around you are a bit more finicky. What's nice about those autos is you can just throw them out. Know that as long as the sun is doing its thing, the plant's going to be doing its thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like in my neighborhood, everybody has a light over their garage and that thing's coming on all the time. Every time some, critter comes walking down the driveway or whatever, screwing up your light cycle. So yeah, it's the way to go.
Awesome. Well, so people have probably been listening. They're thinking already, oh, this is the seed I need to try. I've heard of Northern Lights. Now is my opportunity to grow it. Where would you recommend that people go to get those seeds?
Yeah, come check us out, MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com.
Very cool. And people can get these, of course, in the seed pack, but you guys also have a monthly subscription. People can sign up for and get seeds delivered to their doorstep every month. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of a set it and forget it, right? Choose your level and wherever you want to be, and you'll get a new set of genetics every month.
That's awesome. I feel like I have so many unneeded subscriptions that every month it's I got to make sure to cancel that. This, however, is one of those that I feel like very, very important to have.
Yeah, never hit that cancel button.
Never. Well, and I heard even there's a rumor that for people looking to buy a pack of seeds, looking to buy a couple packs of seeds, maybe looking to do a pheno hunt or two, they could get a discount on seeds just by listening to this podcast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. NL10, and that'll get you 10% discount.
Sweet. So we'll go to MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. I'll scroll through. I'll fill up my cart. I'll go to checkout, enter NL10, and get that 10% off discount.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Well, Northern Lights, I'm excited to see people grow that. If you've got great pictures of your Northern Lights auto grow, send them in. We'd love to put them on the podcast. That's a fun pack of seeds to get growing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Casey, thank you so much for coming in the studio today. As always, I cannot wait to see what you have in store for us next month.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, Tanner.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
I don't feel bad for Cooper at all because these kids get just everything they could dream of. But I do feel bad for kids that have to deal with everyone's devices being tracked and things being recorded and pictures being taken and social media being.
Right.
I just squeezed out of college in the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because if Snapchat existed.
It was coming.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, you got out. You got out in the nick of time.
Yes, I did.
So that was funny. You got me there.
Perfect.
10 milligrams at a time.
Yeah. So with that, I should add, there's still a little bit of carbonation in these. The lemonades are not still, but it's a little less carbonated than the traditional seltzer you see.
Okay.
So still get a little bit of bubble, a little bit of bite, but, nothing crazy overwhelming.
A typical Wynk.
Yeah.
So you were telling me 6 packs at $19.99.
Yeah,
good
pricing.
Good idea. Great value.
Right.
But if the consumer doesn't see it on the shelf like that, they might.
It just kind of looked like, another $19.99 on the shelf.
And generally speaking, I didn't give you any heads up on this, but how I guess that goes into a little bit of the transition, but is Wynk pretty easy to find right now, or where would you recommend people go to find Wynk?
Yeah. So right now we've got a couple, chains continue on board with the 5 milligrams. Total Wine's got them back up and running. They
awesome.
Also have, since we last spoke as well, we had launched the variety packs in the 5 milligram.
Yes.
And that included tangerine as a new flavor.
Oh, yeah.
The black cherry, the lime, the mango, and the tangerine.
Yes.
So we now, as of January, have tangerine as a standalone.
Okay.
So we added that SKU. And then we also added our seasonal flavors. So we have 2 seasonal drops in the 5 milligram a year. So we have cranberry blood orange you can find on the shelves right now.
Sweet.
At Total Wines. Cub Foods also.
Cub
handful
Foods.
of them. They're getting back around.
Super value.
We switched up our distributor model a little bit. So there was, time for turnover in there. But with this new partnership, we were really able to work on things like pricing, product assortment, where do we go from here?
Okay.
We found a lot when we had both the 2.5 milligram and 5 milligram available. It was hard to go pitch somebody that is minimal on space or working on growing their space, but when you have the same flavors and 2 different doses, not, major differences in the functionality, it's 2 different consumers that we're selling to for sure. 2.5 is such it's a sweet spot for me, even when it comes to sessionability.
Sure.
And that's where our 5 and 2.5 milligram options, putting a 6-pack for the 5 milligrams. We want to promote sessionability as well.
Yeah.
And that's such a great dose to be able to kind of maintain and sustain.
Right.
If I'm going to go out on the boat this summer, I'm not going to grab 3-4 packs of these and drink 10 milligrams all day.
Nope.
But a 5 milligram Wynk 12 pack is perfect. I can maintain social sessionability like I would. I like to think about it like I have a White Claw in my hand. If I'm drinking one of these an hour, maybe 2 an hour.
Yeah. And you have seltzer background. You were boots on the ground during the seltzer boom.
Yes.
Right. So when you talk about things like a White Claw, you have a pretty good comparison model in your mind around how this has sort of stepped in as a new option for those who still like that White Claw, whatever they might not like White Claw, but their lifestyle fits with White Claw.
Right.
And so it might fit with Wynk as well.
Yeah. And that's a great point as well. We are categorically a THC seltzer. And I think so many people have seltzer burned in their brain as something with an alcohol base. I mean, you can still get seltzer water and it's going to be sparkling water.
Yeah.
But, a seltzer in everybody's consumer mind is
stamped as.
It's got that aftertaste, that malt base, that alcohol base, those artificial sugars that, I can have a couple and then I get a gut rut. Yeah. I mean, honestly, at first, I was just so excited when I heard about kind of the flavor lineup here with the lemonades, but my mind went straight back to lemonade seltzers I've had in the past. And I love them. They're great, but I can only have 1 or 2 because of those sugars, because of that, how it may be. But again, with a THC seltzer, you don't have that alcohol base.
Right.
We don't have those artificial sugars.
Nice.
So you're getting that 0 calories, 0 sugar, cold, light, refreshing experience without the gut rut, without the fuzzy teeth, without the okay, I can only have 1 of those. I need to move on to something like that.
Yeah, this is a terrific product.
Thank you.
I like it a lot. For sure. So with 5s, you were saying...
Yeah, so with the 5 milligrams compared to the 10s, we're appeasing different crowds, but it's also different occasions too. Right? So with our 10 milligram, point here is people want to get to where they're going a little quicker.
Sure.
So the 10 milligrams THC, 12 ounce can, we're going to get you there.
I'm halfway to Lino Lakes already.
Hey, shout out Lino Lakes. And, but you go back to summer sessionability, right? Getting out on the boat. I always like to say to my buyers, you're going to have, my buyers would tell me oh, we only want to look at 10s. Well, I didn't have 10s available. I was selling 5s. So I had to continue these conversations for them to see no, there's still a place and a space for this. So you're consuming your 10 milligrams, totally get it. But when you got somebody who's coming into the liquor store and they're going to go out on the boat for the afternoon, they're going to grab their bottle of tequila and their 12-pack of White Claw. Okay. Because you need something to get the party going. Yeah. But then you can't keep going all day.
So it's more maintenance.
With that. It's more of a maintenance dose. Okay. Or sessionability. Or again, you'll get your 4-pack of craft beer that's super tasty, but you're going to grab your Mick Ultras to go with it because you want to watch the waist and you want to make sure you can get through the day without, I prefer to drink all day and be in bed by 5 o'clock, but maybe some people don't.
So Wynk sort of set themselves up to be really dynamic depending on what kind of experience you're looking for throughout the day.
Right. So you have your 10 milligrams, get to where you're going. Now you want to maintain that. So you're going out on the boat. You're going to grab your 12-pack as well.
Sure.
So you're going to grab your bottle of tequila or your 10 milligrams or your gummy or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But then you want to get through the day. So then you got, your 12-pack Wynk variety.
Sure.
A couple different flavors, little lower dose.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're drinking about 1 an hour, right? You're sessionable. You're out on the boat. You want to have more. You want to maintain sociability. You don't want to hold the same warm can in your hand, whatever it may be. The 5 milligrams, let's call it 1 an hour over 4 hours on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
You're not building yourself up to 20 milligrams in that 4-hour time period.
Okay.
Because your body is metabolizing, your body is working.
Sure.
So our, total effective period of beverages and how our endocannabinoid system and everything else metabolizes, it's about 90 minutes.
Okay.
So the beverages are going to hit you faster and not quite last as long as an edible because you're metabolizing it differently.
Sure.
So in 90 minutes or 4 hours worth of 20 milligrams, 4 cans.
420.
Hey, look what I did there. You're not, I don't want people to have the assumption that like, I drink 6 of these, I'm going to be at, 30 milligrams or 60 milligrams. You got to look at the timing of it. It is more of a maintenance dose. So for me, the 5 milligrams in a sessionable setting is great because don't have to worry about somebody bugging me about grabbing me a drink or getting me something else constantly because I have something NA in my hand. Yeah. And I can maintain myself in a way that I would with a White Claw or whatever it may be.
Small buzz,
longer stretch.
Good times.
So different place, different space.
Different folks.
Different strokes for different folks. There we go.
Coming to a TV series near you. No, I mean, I'm having fun. What I'm thinking about is like, hook me up with the boat package, right? Yeah. I need a 4-pack of the 10s. Mm-hmm. I need a 12-pack of the 5s, or a 6-pack, and then I need
snacks,
a cooler full of 2.5s just for samples to throw out to my friends.
There you go.
Literally,
that's the
just
plan.
Hanging out in the water.
I think they did an amazing job with it. And though I wish it could have got here sooner, I think they did every right step to perfect it.
I mean,
truly, good things can't be rushed.
I hear that. And the alcohol rollouts, the alcohol product rollouts, I mean, they've had 90 years of unfeathered, I was going to say innovation, essentially no prohibition, THC being a new category,
right?
I would venture to say that the product rollouts might take longer because it's everyone, regardless of how long you've been in this industry as a THC beverage producer, you're still relatively new.
Right? No, 100%. And I think there are products out there that have been rushed.
Yeah.
And, a good batch or two, and then all of a sudden you go back a couple months later for the same thing, and
it's not the
same.
Sure.
And there's a lot of things, whether you're THC or an alcohol, everybody as they grow is going to change things. Manufacturers, canners, formulas, etc., ingredient shortages, no matter what it may be, things are going to change. It's inevitable.
Sure.
We are fortunate to have the scalability because we own our manufacturing. And we have those relationships with flavor partners, supplier partners, et cetera, like that, in our overhead business that allows us to make the adjustments that we need to.
Okay.
We ran into many instances in 2024 where a state that we were in and we were doing really well in.
Yeah.
All of a sudden laid down a law, like you can't go over 3% or 3 milligrams.
Oh.
And so as everyone else is getting pulled from the shelves,
right.
We were able to
2.5 to the rescue, huh?
Well, yes, but also no, because we were able to flip a switch and produce 3 milligram Wynks.
Even better.
Pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Get the truckload over. All of a sudden, we're the first brand back on the shelves. And that that was a huge shift for us. I believe it was Connecticut.
That's a proud achievement.
And it is.
Yeah.
I applaud every single person a part of this. Logistics, operations, like everything that happened, all the magic happens.
Right.
That's
one of the reasons why Canna Connect likes to work with Wynk is because we can learn and we can understand that Wynk is further along than a lot of cannabis beverage companies. And so when we work with Wynk, we get a lens into the future of cannabis beverages.
Yeah. That was a huge thing that again, as I was contemplating what my next move was going to be, after I left the craft beer and kind of seltzer side and found myself in the pilot facility and seeing a lot of these functional ingredients come through. You know, when they had reached out to me, I was very hesitant because, first of all, it was just an adult beverage. They were, you know, this recruiter was talking to me about.
High level.
Yeah, right. You know, they're just trying to filter through, you know, who they can talk to. And I let them know. I said, you know, I'm really trying to shy away from adult beverage. Like, I've been doing it for the last 10 years and I'm just exhausted. Like, we weren't even through COVID yet at that point, but I was already like 10 years aged in those couple years. And finally they said, you know, let us give us a couple days. Let us get you a little bit more information about who this is and what they're doing. And, you know, I ended up having a phone call with Angus and Phil, and they told me what they had been doing and what they're doing. And in my mind, I've watched a lot of brands grow,
test,
and you know, test, fail, and grow, test, and stick. And I could tell they were doing they were having the correct thought processes.
Okay.
They were coming from a place of wanting to educate people, wanting to ensure that clean products, consistent products were available to consumers so they'd have a positive experience. So federally, we would have a chance.
Yep.
So we could go say, no, this can be done right. It can be done safe, and it can be done in a way that is good for everybody.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it about them, and they continue to do that. And again, you know, with co-packing and a lot of the work that we're doing with other brands that are out there, you know, we have great relationships and great allies in this industry because of the crossovers that we have.
Sure.
So we really like to just kind of stay in our lane, and that's why we keep it to clean, simple ingredients. That's, you know, with the exception of removing the CBD here, but just sticking with straight THC in terms of functionality.
Geared towards the liquor store outlet or the grocery store outlet versus the on-premise. Because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Canna Connect Brainerd Lakes.
Yeah.
And the Brainerd Lakes Canna Club.
Yeah.
Because we'll be kicking that off in this month.
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can definitely dive into that, but, you know, just wrapping up the last thought of we have a home for everything, you know, on-premise, retail, whatever it may be. Dispensary, we did pull away from because obviously these high-end, low-dose products are meant for mainstream. You're not going to a dispensary to buy a 6-pack of 5 milligram beverages.
That's what, 30 milligrams?
Yeah.
You know,
or a 4-pack of 10s. They're out there for sure, but you're going in there for something with a little more punch.
A Colorado dispensary, for example, is not going to sell.
No, they have like 100 milligram
singles,
5-hour energy shots.
I'd love to, I mean, there's so much more to talk about as far as like your team and the federal level, at the potentially the lobbying that's happening, you know, to ensure that we have, so that stories like Connecticut don't happen, or Tennessee, or, you know, it's state by state basis. Like Iowa is capped at 3 milligrams. Yeah. Yeah.
Same with them. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm super, super interested to continue talking about cannabis beverages because Minnesota is such a hot spot, and we are, mecca. Yeah, we're the nucleus of where it all really jumped off.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the last 18 months has been a wild ride.
Yeah.
Met a lot of really great people, like yourself, that have just helped kind of lift the category up. A lot of old colleagues and coworkers I'm running into on the streets all the time, asking me more and more questions, you know, how I feel about the change and if it's been good for me. I mean, categorically, the only positive growth trend in the adult beverage industry is in THC right now.
Yes. Yes.
So non-alcoholic functional cannabis beverage is up. Everywhere else is down. You know.
I mean,
so
what a
lot of
time.
people.
What a great switch for you to pull. To land.
Life works in mysterious ways. To get to be a part of the seltzer boom with one of the largest global breweries, and kind of kicking off their brands and seeing how that kind of shook things up. And I remember everyone just kind of being like, I mean, how do you categorize it? Like, it's a whole new category. And is this gonna, you know, kind of, was it going to be like a cider that just kind of like had its little home? Like, no, the seltzer category was a whole new category.
Okay.
And we hadn't seen, and by we, at that point, I was about a decade into the adult beverage industry, and there's plenty of vets that have been out there longer than me.
Yeah.
But what I've seen in the last decade is probably as much, if not more, change than they've seen in the last 40 years.
Sure.
Nobody's seen this new category emerge. I mean, craft beer would probably be the most previous push.
Yep. Which came about 15 years before the seltzer boom, which was really that COVID era.
Yeah. Yep. That COVID era. And it kind of went back to like, again, seltzers, most breweries could do it. So why wouldn't they?
I saw a ton of breweries making seltzers and being sold at like MGM and liquor stores like
Less
that.
ingredients, quick production, out the door, like easy peasy. And then all of a sudden this water soluble terpenes and THC and like CBD, what?
Yeah.
Like, here's this new category.
Amazing.
By storm.
Yeah.
So watching this sections grow and seeing retailers kind of figure out, what do we cut back on? Do we cut back another door of craft beer? Do we cut back another aisle of wine? It's very interesting to see how retailers are adapting as well.
Yeah.
In real time.
So if retailers that watch the show are looking to get Wynk into their store, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
Yes, please. You can reach out to me anytime, of course. But I do work directly with the Johnson Brothers liquor division.
Okay.
So they are currently distributing for us statewide in Minnesota. And if we expand outside of Minnesota, we've got business partners and we're just getting ready to launch Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
Actually, this upcoming week as well. So.
We've got 1 or 2 Wisconsin listeners.
Hey, Wisconsin, you can get Wynk now. Maybe like next week or like give it a week or two. But
April
Fools. They are just getting their product as well. So really excited to get that on board. We actually just hired a Midwest sales director. Parker, you got to meet earlier this week. Great guy. He's coming from craft beer world, had done regional management for War Pigs.
There's a couple of pigs.
3 pigs. But anyway, he's got some great insight, and just to have the extra support. I mean, me being the sole boots on the ground in Minnesota has been a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And I think that's just, our market in general. We all know you need to have somebody on the ground, and as we're all getting started, we got budget for one, and as things grow, we get to add more. So, I've got a team that's out there supporting retail and samplings. Lizeth has been a great partner for me, and Parker, cool. He's out in Milwaukee, so he's getting ready to kick off Wisconsin. So
that's dope.
Be a lot of fun.
We're excited to party up in Brainerd this summer with you guys.
So excited. Yeah, we can dive into that. But
April 24th, Brainerd Lakes Canna Club. Come see Lauren. Come see the Wynk team. We're going to be at Dunmire's on the lake. It's going to be a great time. Every 4th Thursday, April, May, and June, and we're psyched to have Wynk on the roster. Yeah,
I mean, I'm excited just to kind of spread my wings a little bit outside of the metro, and being able to have full state distribution with Johnson Brothers is a game changer. And there's a lot going on in the metro, but there's a lot of opportunity kind of in those outstate areas. And especially when you think about Brainerd and the lakes in the summer, and having something that's low sugar, not going to, bloat you all day, but you can have back to the sessionability.
Huh. I'm so amped. Yeah,
I know. I'm excited. So, and back to the platform of the relationships I get to build. I want to look for opportunities, to be talking directly with the people drinking these and explaining it to them, the ins and outs, that they're not going a lot of retailers are doing a much better job at training their staff members on THC.
Sure.
Whether it's through us as like a brand partner, or, somebody that they're bringing in to make sure that they can answer those frequently asked questions. But you never quite get the same elevator pitch that somebody that has their hand on the product. So being able to answer those curiosities, those concerns, those kind of things, and educate people in a way that's like, hey, we're trying to, again, what you guys are doing by bringing people together in this space in a comfortable way.
Sure.
That's the exact experience that we want people to have with Wynk. We're bringing people together in a comfortable way to consume something new.
Yeah.
So by having something that's clean, easy to read labels and ingredients, you know, consistent COAs, you know, everything that needs to be done. We're there. If you need something different, we'll do it. You know what I mean? So I'm just excited to get it in more people's hands and really have that summer experience, you know, with all these new products.
Yeah, the products look great. You know, like we said, we got to try some ahead of time. I've had the strawberry, I've had the raspberry, the lemonade. I guess that's the last one that I need to try, and then we can get out of here. But Lauren, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, cheers.
I really like it because I can chug it and it doesn't bite on the back of the neck. And sometimes with seltzers or those malt flavors, like this is a really fun drink. I can tell this is a good time. This is a party drink. Like I'm amped to tell people about this. If you're looking to have a good time, try the Wynk 10 milligram lemonade series. Tell them the Northern Lights podcast sent you.
Please do.
We'll see you next time.